Ladies and gentlemen, thank you so very much for tuning in. Eric H526, Luke St. Martin, the two best moderators in all of YouTube, thank you very, very much. To my super chat, ladies and gentlemen, I don't have $20 million in venture capital funding like some people. So your support via super chat and on Patreon, to my new Patreons, thank you very, very, very much. Means a great deal to me, so thank you. I'm going to read you this article, and then we're going to get to a whole lot of really interesting topics. Mark Meadows, additional documents spell trouble for ex-officials in Durham investigation. White House Chief of Staff Mark Meadows said he has seen additional documents that are pertinent to U.S. Attorney John Durham's criminal inquiry into the Russia investigation. Meadows, a former congressional investigator, told Fox Business anchor Maria Bartiromo that he does not have an update on Durham's work, but noted that these records he has viewed reflect poorly on top FBI officials who were involved into the origins of the operation, looking into ties between President Trump's 2016 campaign in Russia. Quote, additional documents that I've been able to review say that a number of players, the Peter Strzok's, the Andy McCabe's, the James Comey's, and even others in the administration previously are in real trouble because of their willingness to participate in an unlawful act, and I use the words unlawful at best. It broke all kinds of protocol. At worst, people should go to jail, as I mentioned previously. Meadows said, so far Durham has charged one person with criminal wrongdoing in his investigation. A former FBI lawyer, Kevin Clinesmith, pleaded guilty last month to false statements charges for fraudulently altering an email during the process of the Bureau seeking a court's permission to renew an order to wiretap former Trump advisor, a former Trump campaign advisor. Meadows was interviewed after Strzok, the former FBI agent who helped open the counterintelligence investigation into Trump's campaign in the summer of 2016, has defended the Bureau's inquiry and argued the president was compromised by Russia. During part of his media blitz for the new book, Meadows said the documents don't back up Strzok, who was fired from the Bureau in 2018 after anti-Trump text messages he sent to a colleague came to light. Trump has encouraged not only declassification, but full transparency. I can tell you it's really easy for Peter, this is Mark Meadows, I can tell you it's really easy for Peter Strzok to go on 60 Minutes when he doesn't have to raise his right hand and tell the truth. In all of his interviews, I can tell you this, it's not backed up by the facts, it's not backed up by documents that I've seen. Ultimately, his house of cards will come falling down. Ladies and gentlemen, this is really, really interesting. Really interesting. And you ever wonder why Strzok, before we get to Clinesmith, and before we get to the anti-Trump text messages like, we will stop Trump. He literally said, we will stop Trump. It's like you're actually saying you're going to stop the president. You're pretty clear in what you want to do at that point. You're pretty clear. You're pretty clear in that you want to stop President Trump. And you've gone to such lengths. You've erased portions of Comey's speech that have to do with gross negligence, which relate to a legal statute. So, Madam Secretary, who will be nominee or eventual nominee or whatever this charade is, who I have no clue how they're going to do it. And I've always told you, I have no clue how they're going to do it, but they ain't going with Biden for the debates. This has been about the past 4 years has been about making everything as morally relative as possible because Madam Secretary, who is infinitely better than Biden, which says something about the Democratic Party, actually did commit crimes. You can't own... Nobody has ever been able to explain how you get top secret intelligence onto servers outside of the United States government, okay? See, Trump never had servers. This is a big deal. And it's something like when Democrats, and let's give a psychoanalysis of Democrats now. They say that Trump is a criminal president, that he's lawless. Well, then why didn't they impeach him on a specific crime? Why didn't they impeach President Trump on a specific crime? Why didn't they quote a legal statute within the articles of impeachment? Because they didn't. Why didn't they say, okay, President Trump's taxes, his agreement with Stormy, his charitable work, his charities. You can have, Rudy Giuliani gave a litany of legal statutes broken by not just the foundation, but also by the servers and basically the whole setup, everything from bribery to Espionage Act to RICO charges. These were, you had money, you had millions upon millions of dollars flowing into a foundation, and then beneficial treatment taking place for people who gave the money. Okay, you don't have that. You don't have President Trump as a Secretary of State who ran private servers for 4 years. And so when James Comey says, well, there was no intent to break any laws, that's not only completely irrelevant, they've already shown their hand. They basically, he told the world, we're not going to indict somebody who deserved indictments. We're not going to go after Clinton. We're just going to instead use a dossier purchased by Clinton to go after Trump. That's what they admitted to. So I find it very hard to believe that the past 4 years has been that they've devoted their lives to impeaching Trump. Bill Clinton was impeached. Oh my goodness, they were so tough on me. They were so hard on me, and I was hard also on myself. Get your mind out of the gutter. I find it hard to believe that the past 4 years has been this never-ending quest to make the Clinton presidency look good, to make Bill Clinton look good, to make Hillary look good. In addition to the fact that she does a million times better than Botox Biden, the exhumed body. I don't know how they're going to do it, but every single day you see a slow, you see this slow process. You see this degradation where this man's mind is turning into mush. When you're reading a teleprompter verbatim, you've given up. When you're reading a teleprompter verbatim, you've given up completely. You don't care anymore. You just don't care anymore, okay? I don't start off these shows saying, and thank you everyone. Mention Luke St. Martin and Eric. Luke St. Martin, Eric H526 say that they're the best. These are the best moderators in all of YouTube. Bring up the super chat. And to my super chat, bring up your love for a YouTube channel that got $20 million in venture capital funding but pretends to want to get money out of politics. And I don't really have $20 million in venture capital funding. If I had a teleprompter, I wouldn't read end of topic, move up. He's not even trying. Do you understand? They're not from and this is all intertwined. Biden's campaign Howard Walters! I'm at the point that I don't even care if the Dems break the law. If no one enforces it, who cares? The Republicans must be just as guilty. Well, Howard, yes. The establishment Republicans, yes. The establishment Republicans, yes. I agree with you on that. Yeah. The Jim Jordans, the Mark Meadows of the world, no. But the Paul Ryans, absolutely, Howard. Absolutely. Paul Ryans? Absolutely. Absolutely. You can't... The Jeff Sessions of the world? Yeah, of course. Of course. I mean, absolutely. Look, you read. Look, Howard. Even look, Business Insider. This is they go after. Oh my God, he went after McCain. It wasn't about his service. Like they went after Tulsi Gabbard, who's a veteran, but you don't hear the outrage. Okay, I don't know if Meghan McCain was defending Tulsi Gabbard, but she should have. She might have. I'm not sure, but here, this is a Business Insider. John McCain described how he received the Steele dossier that contains the most salacious allegations against Trump and Russia. The late Republican Senator John McCain provided dramatic details of how he obtained the infamous Trump-Russia dossier in his new book. So, I mean, he wrote a book about this. McCain wrote that it all seemed, quote, too strange a scenario to believe at first, but felt, quote, even a remote risk that the President of the United States might be vulnerable to Russian extortion had to be investigated. That's absurd. He knew that Trump was being set up, and he was just fine with it. He was a Republican, like Paul Ryan, like Mitt Romney, they were all fine with it. They didn't care. G-Man! G-Man, thank you as always, G-Man. G-Man, thank you. Howard, G-Man, thank you. Hope all is well, G-Man, thank you. And everybody, ladies and gentlemen, be here November 2nd, 3rd, 4th, 5th. I mean, throughout the election, it's going to be amazing. But G-Man and Howard, be here definitely in November. I know you will. G-Man, thank you so very, very much. But I mean, Business Insider, this is the thing that is so disingenuous, okay? You had, if you look at John McCain's past, Keating 5 scandal, John McCain gets into heck of a mess with the Keating 5 scandal. So there's no doubt he was a war hero. There's no doubt. I'm not doubting that at all. Okay, but this is a man who wasn't perfect in his life, and if you want to say, well, you know what, by 1987, McCain had received about $112,000 in political contributions from Keating and his associates. McCain also carried a little water for Keating in Washington. While in the House, McCain, along with a majority of representatives, co-sponsored a resolution to delay new regulations designed to curb risky investments by thrifts such as Lincoln. Okay, so you can look back and say, you can look back and say, gosh, you could do the same thing to McCain that McCain did to Trump. A direct political rival looks at, Charles Keating and McCain, he let a whole bunch of unscrupulous investors off the hook, or help them swindle people. And there's a dossier that says that McCain is helping other potential criminals. We have to investigate. If there's even a remote possibility, given the fact that he was part of the Keating 5, if there's even a remote possibility, we have to investigate. You cannot go through political life saying, well, if there's a remote possibility, So he knew it was nonsense. Then he says, even a remote risk that the president of the United States might be vulnerable to Russian extortion. Trump doesn't even work that way. He doesn't even care about it. You think that he's Russian extortion based on what? A dossier? Based on Facebook ads that nobody saw? That nobody can describe? When was the last time you heard anyone, left or right, describe a Facebook ad that they saw that changed their mind in 2016? So you could have done the same thing to McCain based on his past. And his links to Charles Keating and others, that wasn't a dossier. He was actually a part of that in some manner back in the day. Then you have, well, Trump is still upset McCain handed over the dossier to the FBI. Yeah, he shouldn't have. He shouldn't have. He helped foment a new Cold War. He shouldn't have done that. That wasn't good for the country. Jimbo! Fanatical Never Trumpers are going to be very disappointed. Great work, H.A. Thanks. Exactly, they will. They will. They'll be very disappointed, and what'll take place, Jimbo and G-Man and Howard, what will take place is the following. They're going to realize that the games that they've played for the past 4 years haven't worked. They have focused only on Trump's personality and his potential for wrongdoing. They haven't actually proven that he's done anything wrong. And they haven't actually, not only did he not do anything wrong, they haven't even stated that his actions, like specific actions, represent breaking the law. So when they said that, like, they tried to paint a phone conversation with the president of Ukraine and say, well, there was an assumption here, there was an ellipsis. Look at the ellipsis. Like, you have 4 years of servers running outside of the United States government, and they're touching themselves in ecstasy because of an ellipsis in a conversation that was translated between two world leaders. Let me see if I could find this. So, these three glaring ellipses. It's like the man cannot win. These are three glaring ellipses in the Trump-Zelensky call summary. They are focusing on three dots. Meanwhile, you have Uranium One officials. This is the way they think. Jimbo, this is the way they think. You have Uranium One officials giving millions into the foundation. Millions. That you can't prove anything. You have Brian Pagliano and a bunch of other people working as technicians just solely for the purpose of running servers with that James Comey stated stored, sent, received information marked classified and top secret intelligence. But you can't prove anything. Do you understand? You can't prove anything. But in ellipses, oh my God, we're going to touch ourselves in ecstasy. These are three glaring ellipses. The White House said the ellipses simply indicate the president was trailing off. No, you're right. Here, that's HuffPost, Boston Globe. These are three ellipses in the transcript. New York Magazine. The rough transcript has three ellipses where Trump is speaking. An ellipsis is like three dots, okay? That convey some kind of suggested meaning. Okay, you use that in writing. Opinions differ as to how to render ellipses in printed material. Okay, so informally known as ... is a series that indicates intentional omission of a word, sentence, or whole section from a text without altering its original meaning. Okay, so, but see, they're actually looking into the meaning of words and semantics and the way a transcribed discussion is translated. That is proof. That is proof to impeach somebody. $10 billion raised for Haiti and less than 3% given to the people of Haiti. That's, President Trump's failed NATO intervention that caused Libya to become a failed state. Ashton. Trump wins 362 to 176. PrimaryModel.com. Nice. Could you imagine? I think it's going to be a decisive victory. Well, if it ain't going to be Biden, but if it's Biden, the 362 to 176, I can totally see. But they obsessed over a phone call. Meanwhile, you have, we can go on. It's not just, you had 2 investigations. One was a cover-up. This is the thing. Christopher Hitchens said this. It's not, being partisan doesn't necessarily mean you're wrong. If you happen to be on the side of truth, then you're on the side of truth. It is truthful. It is reality to say that Trump could never have gotten away with what Clinton did. What either Clinton did. Could you imagine if Trump in the Oval Office with an intern? Could you imagine? In this day and age? And so, but aside, if Trump had if Pompeo had 4 years of servers running outside of the United States government, and that's the thing, they always say, well, emails, it was just private emails. They reduce the biggest stories and the most pertinent information and the most the most important information. They reduce it to just talking points. And they don't care. They don't care. Don't ever debate people with Trump derangement syndrome, but you could tell them, yeah, but Clinton outspent Trump 2 to 1. So what? They won't care. Anything that refutes their argument, they just simply won't care, because that's where the arrogance and the hubris comes along. They're so arrogant that they think that the potential for Trump to have done something is just the same as Clinton doing something. They think that Pelosi going into a salon without a mask is meaningless, while they pontificate about people losing their lives if you don't wear a mask. But if it happened, it's not that big of a deal. They don't live by their own code of conduct. This is one of the many reasons they're going to lose. It's one of the many reasons that they're going to lose. The left is not about ideas. They try to market themselves. Oh, we have, we're so forward thinking. No, it's like a club, or this fashion, this image. Being a liberal Democrat is about an image. It's not about actual ideas. It's about upholding an image. You care about the environment, yeah. So what did President Obama do? Well, he cared about the environment. Here, this is a great article that I love. This is in 2015. Okay, these are the people who will yell at the top of their lungs about climate change, and it's again the arrogance and the hubris. and the narcissism. It's about conveying an image. They care about the planet. And then here, Financial Post. America has built the equivalent of 10 Keystone XL pipelines since 2010, and nobody said anything. But President Obama opposed Keystone XL. So that was good. But under his watch, under his presidency, 10 Keystone pipelines since 2010. Oil business has been booming in the United States. He presided over the largest expansion. President Obama presided over the largest expansion of domestic oil and gas. So this is CNN. America's biggest oil boom came under Obama. And it's like they never really focus on the record. He deported more human beings than any president ever, and he had the largest expansion of domestic oil and gas of any president ever. And on the two major issues, immigration and climate change, that they claim to be at the forefront of in terms of morality, they claim to be morally superior on both issues. President Obama was the antithesis of all these claims. The absolute antithesis. But, he got us into the Paris Accords, and, he did a lot of things that were, that really, really showed that he cared. Mark Skog! 4 years straight of freaking out is too much for the human brain. I'm thinking November 3rd is going to make them catatonic. You know what, Mark? You know what it is? It'll make them the wind. There'll be no more wind in the sails. It will make them almost give up for a moment. They'll say things like that, said, you know what, our democracy's over, I'm done. I'm done trying to yell at people and help them. Because they think that they're really helping people by denigrating them and helping them. Mark Skog, the meltdown is going to be epic. The meltdown is going to be so beautiful. It's going to be the most amazing moment in the history of the internet, or in the history of YouTube for sure. I mean, I'll do live streams on this channel. I'll do live streams on H.A. Goodman's other channel. I'll crank up the hot tub time machine and do something on formerly Bizarro World Goodman. I have that channel. I have 5,000 subs on that channel. Who knows what I'll do there? I have 16,000 on H.A. Goodman's other channel. I'll start doing more. I mean, starting October, I'll definitely be doing a lot on H.A. Goodman's other channel. Like 3 a day at least. But you have this, you have the reality. You have the reality, and U.S. oil production soars under Obama. Production hits 44-year high in April 15. So these are the people who talk about fossil fuels, climate change. This is a Forbes article. The irony of President Obama's oil legacy. The irony is that President Obama, who is not viewed as a friend of the oil and gas industry, has presided over rising oil production in each of the 7 years he's been in office. So, it's never and Mark, that is. That's exactly what this is all about. They don't realize They don't care about reality. They care about image. That's it. Howard Walters. It's about putting the color of someone's skin tone as your backdrop on your Facebook profile. Yeah, Howard Walters. Any movement that's adopted by Hollywood tanks. Any movement. It could be anything. Any movement that liberals and social media and Hollywood and celebrities and athletes, when it's fashionable to do something, when it's just fashionable to do something, any movement tanks. Howard, thank you so very much. Howard, thank you. Kaylee Smith, thank you, Howard. Thank you. Kaylee Smith. Trump 2020 landslide. I had two people at a stoplight compliment my Trump 2020 bumper sticker just today. Kaylee Smith, thank you. Thank you, Kaylee. Yeah, I mean, it's President Trump's going to win. It's just a matter of how close they can make it to cheat, because their whole thing is, well, if we just get close enough. See, they're telegraphing, and Clinton is going to be able to do this. Clinton will eventually be on that debate stage. I'm telling you. They're not going with the exhumed body. But, see, they have to get close enough to cheat. With Clinton, they get close enough to cheat. With Biden, they don't get close enough to cheat. And that's going to, I mean, can you imagine the entire planet? The entire planet is going to be watching. The entire planet is going to be watching when Clinton does become, replace Biden. With that will come enthusiasm. They have zero enthusiasm. They've spent so much time on Trump's personality. You don't generate enthusiasm or passion or energy by focusing on another person's personality, by complaining all the time. He's so mean. He's so mean. He's horrible. He's a mean person. He's immoral. These are the people. I mean, you realize the people like Hillary Clinton and Bill Clinton and Anthony Weiner and Eric Schneiderman and all of these Al Franken, all of these people who are like either forced to resign in disgrace or, oh my God, these are like the political televangelists of our time. These are the people who are the most corrupt and immoral. Talking about President Trump, President Trump got hundreds of millions of dollars from NBC for The Apprentice. They didn't mind. For 14 seasons, he got like, what, $200+ million. We were talking about that yesterday evening. I mean, look, the proof is in you really show your support for something through your pocketbook. And, you paid Trump hundreds of millions of dollars. He was not this racist. He wasn't a monster. He wasn't an ogre. He was a celebrity or a well-known individual, a billionaire, started a TV series, and the TV series made NBC billions. Parabiology 101. HA, please do a comedy channel where you do political impression skits. Like plan out conversations in character, like discussions between Nancy and Mitch. I love the impressions. One of these days I'll get somebody to help me with, filming, like actually filming, that type of thing. Parabiology 101. Greatly appreciated. Parabiology 101. Thank you. That would be awesome. Oh, thank you so much, Parabiology 101. Parabiology 101. I don't have Mitch tonight. Parabiology 101, I do not have Mitch. I just can't do myself tonight. I don't know what's the problem. Parabiology 101, thank you so very, very much as always for watching. Thank you. Kaylee Smith, Orange Man Rad. Isn't there? Kaylee Smith, thank you. Kaylee Smith, thank you. Hunter's Moon, Grim. Kaylee, thank you. Hunter's Moon X Grim. The Democrats will try and eliminate reality, like that South Park episode where reality was the name of a character. Hunter's Moon X. That's the thing, they have President Trump, Kaylee, and Parabiology 101. Thank you. Thank you very much. Hunter's Moon X Grim. The interesting thing is that he didn't get us into a war. That was Bush. And he didn't destroy a country and turn it into a failed state. That was President Obama. So Bush, Cheney, and Rumsfeld got us into never-ending counterinsurgency conflicts. And so, you can't. What can you attribute to President Trump? What did this man do? I want to know what he record low unemployment. 2 major foreign policy accomplishments recently between the UAE and Israel, and then Kosovo and Serbia. Well, tell me what this man has done to warrant such vitriol and venom. I want to know. His mean tweets. He's so mean. Then they come up with the lamest. Well, he speaks to really bad people. He emboldens them. He enables them. They make this up. Oh, the people weren't enabled during President Obama's administration? The same atrocities took place during President Obama's administration, and nobody said anything. Or let's put it this way. The presidency wasn't blamed. Sluggo3 Slug! Thank you so very, very much. Thank you. Sluggo3 Slug, thank you very, very, very much for always watching. Greatly appreciated. Love the graphic. Thank you. Sluggo3 Slug, thank you so very much for watching in Sweden. Thank you so very, very much. Sluggo3 Slug, thank you. Thank you. Old School Dad Man! Sluggo, thank you again. Old School Dad Man! Many paid the price to expose corruption. Politicians will lie, cheat, steal, blackmail, and worse to get the dollars and retain power. Both parties are guilty of corruption. Oh, absolutely. 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 And you have a man, to my Australian crew, my favorite Australian is Assange, who's going through a really rough time now, and he's a hero. He should be free and pardoned, and he should have freedom. Going through a really, horrendous time with a trial now, and he exposed both left and right. But see, that's what the truth about them, the truth about Democrats, the truth about Republicans are national security issues. Assange was no different from Daniel Ellsberg, but our society is different. Our society has, Daniel Ellsberg, one of the things that he stated was when he published the Pentagon Papers, and when he gave the Pentagon Papers to the Washington Post and other publications, he was surprised at the lack of interest. Old School Dad Man, Sluggo3 Slug, Parabiology 101. Daniel Ellsberg was surprised at the lack of interest regarding the Pentagon Papers and the origins of Vietnam. He was surprised at how the apathy. He was surprised at how people were just apathetic. And so you have a person like Assange who the DNC emails forced Debbie Wasserman Schultz to resign, and the campaign emails talked about Bill Clinton Inc. Oh my goodness, I couldn't believe it was so salacious. And but the truth about pay-to-play schemes and all that stuff, it's 500 conflicts of interest, and President Obama knows, he was sent emails from the servers. the truth about them, cheating Bernie Sanders, the truth about them got them, it frightened them so much, it angered them so much, it frustrated them so much, they lashed out for the past 4 years, and they had media. See, when President Obama was first elected, the only irrational news organizations, like I should say completely irrational or off the deep end, you would get like, you would have like Fox News saying things that were just, oh, he's a threat to democracy, or that type of thing. That doesn't work. Hyperbole, like, for years and years, makes the target of the hyperbole stronger. So President Obama got stronger over the years because you had one channel that was saying, oh, well, you know what? You know, the Obamacare is going to lead to this, this, and that, and this, and this. It's like, you can make rational arguments, and the rational argument should be enough. But if you go overboard, then you do a disservice, and then you actually strengthen the other side. Now, you don't just have, the script, the tables are completely reversed. However, whereas you had just Fox News with President Obama, you have MSNBC, CNN, The Washington Post, The New York Times. You have you have pretty much most of media. Fox News is like a small, or a relatively small percentage, or it's not like even, let's just say it's 25% or 30% of political media. Now you have 70% or 80% of political media acting the way Fox News did with President Obama. But the difference, however, is that they've like thrust the country into a new Cold War because of Facebook ads. So now, after the wonderful foundation gets millions in donations from Uranium One, and 20% of U.S. uranium capacity is eventually, for a moment, owned by Putin, that is not as important as Facebook ads. Robber Baron! They're all going to WSING. They're all going to. Why can't I read that correctly or understand what you're writing? It's my bad. Let's see. They're all going to Robber Baron. Thank you. I can't. For some reason, I can't read exactly what you said. But Robber Baron, thank you so very much. Robber Baron, thank you so very much, as always, for watching. Stony Stone, keep showing the world the truth. Brother, God bless you, Stony Stone, God bless you. You can't make this up news. Yes, Stony Stone, thank you so very, very much. You can't make it up. If you made it up, if you tried to make everything up, people would say you were writing a story on LSD while you were banging your head with a hammer. That's how weird and wacky American politics is. And it doesn't make any sense. Like, this is a report from The Atlantic. You know, people on condition of anonymity said that Trump murdered Santa Claus. It's true, and it's been confirmed. The allegations have been confirmed. These are the people who, like, are the most irrational imbeciles on the planet. You can't confirm gossip, you fools. You can't confirm gossip. That's why it's called gossip. Okay? You can't say, I've confirmed what Mary said about Jane. It's been confirmed by many sources. Well, how did you confirm it? You just heard the same nonsense? You can't confirm gossip and hearsay. That's all they do is just they harp on the same things. Trump is capable of anything. He's capable of anything. Well, we have to investigate because he's capable of anything. Well, what about, I don't know, millions from UBS, and then they get hooked up with taxes, and they get hooked up with the IRS. Oh, no. Now, you can't. What about millions from Boeing? Or speaking engagement, $500,000 speaking engagement in Moscow with Bill Clinton. Or Bill Clinton meeting with Putin while the uranium deal's going down. Oh, no, you can't prove anything. You can't prove anything. Robert Barron, thank you. You can't prove anything. It's true, though. I heard that Trump took Santa Claus hostage. Yeah, and the elves too. Yeah, it's been documented from people close to the North Pole. Sources in the North Pole say, and then you have Bob Woodward. We had many sources. He speaks. Bob Woodward speaks like he kind of speaks like Jimmy Stewart. Speaks like Jimmy Stewart. Bob Woodward and Bernstein, the only reason they broke Watergate, the only reason, is not because they were intrepid journalists, is because Bob Woodward knew a high-level FBI official, Mark Felt, for years prior to Watergate. And it was Mark Felt who said, hey, I'll give you some information. And it was a break-in and a cover-up. See, sources are to be used when there's an actual story. Not somebody said that they're holding Santa Claus ransom, or they got the Tooth Fairy, or they had relations with the Loch Ness Monster. Yeah, somebody said this. That's not a story. Gossip and hearsay is not journalism, or it shouldn't be. It's not a story. Simply saying that Trump could have said something it doesn't get people to vote. And then they go, and then you see the propaganda. He said this. Can you believe he said this? And then Clinton, and she's going to be there at the end of the day, and it's going to be the biggest political call of all time. She's like, it's indicative of who Trump is that he said this. Like, he never said anything. And you went after Tulsi Gabbard without any evidence. And people say, it's 2 months before the election. How can they possibly switch? Well, I don't know. Why don't you listen to Biden saying, move up teleprompter? Yeah, end of topic. He's not even trying. He's not even trying anymore. Robert Barron, thank you. He's not even trying anymore. The man isn't trying anymore. And it's like they're capable of anything. There is the one rule they run. The only rule they have is that there are no rules. That's the only rule. Democrats run by the following paradigm. They make the rules to break them. And it's the same thing. They're outraged and they're offended, but when it's them, you need the media to vet. They did the same thing with Tara Reid. And we can go on and see, media, they're willing participants. And I talked about this. You have the average writer, the average journalist at the New York Post and the New York Times, Washington Post, CNN. They're in their 30s. They want to be hip and fashionable and cool and accepted. And their introduction into politics was the very end of the Bush administration and 8 years of President Obama. And the 8 years of President Obama was the height of morality, the height of, like, the Mount Olympus, the epitome of morality and virtue. and where the country should go. And every scandal from Libya to servers to Flint to Standing Rock to that was just, it wasn't that big of a deal. And President Obama was a good moral man. Let me ask you a question. How moral is it to engage in a NATO intervention that turns an entire country into a failed state, with now two leaders vying for power? Like, when you look at from a theological sense, you think, like, just if you, this is also the reason, like, they don't, it's different if you have to defend your country. So they say, well, you could say the same thing about every president. Yeah, to an extent. You can make arguments about Truman, but they'd be different from the arguments you could make about LBJ and Bush, especially Bush and LBJ, and Nixon and President Obama. Or you can make certain arguments about FDR and then Truman, and say, well, Truman dropped, yeah, okay, but that's a little bit, that's different. The NATO intervention was to help people. So what kind of personality, what kind of moral code, do you have integrity? Are you a moral person? They say, like, President Obama's, he's a moral individual. Look at Trump as a demagogue. No, he's not. He made one statement in 2015. They ran with it for the past 4 years. And the same types of things took place in President Obama's administration in terms of every topic, including immigration. That's why I find it so amusing that they focus on Stephen Miller. You look at what President Obama did on every topic, but in terms of foreign policy, funding rebels to foment this kind of slow motion regime change with Assad that exacerbated and caused even more chaos and mayhem, but turning a country into a failed state in Libya. They say, well, President Obama was a good person. Trump is a bad person, but Trump didn't do those things. So Trump did not turn tell me the country that Trump turned into a failed state. Well, he did this and that. Focus. Tell me the country that Trump turned into a failed state. I want to know the country. Tell me the country. So, Jane! Number one. Thank you, Jane! Thank you very, very, very much. Thank you, Jane. Be here, Jane. Be here. November 2nd, 3rd, 4th, and 5th. It's going to be amazing. November 4th will be more amazing than November 3rd. I mean, that's the truth. November 4th is going to be more amazing than November 3rd. The Hangover is going to be even better. Jane, thank you so very much. Thank you, Jane. Jay Bamhart, Jay. Jay, I don't ever go there. I don't know how it happens. And I always say in Hebrew, the word is chas v'shalom, which is God forbid. I just say Tom Perez has a meeting. And he says, look, Hillary Clinton is the only chance we have. Already today, Jay, you just reminded me. Jane and Jay Bamhart again. Although I think such a plan gives Democrat brain trust too much credit. Yeah, the brain trust is lacking in brain capacity. Just today, after yesterday's, after Trump alluded yet again to Clinton, check it out, everyone. This is fantastic. This is today. Trump calls Clinton a much more capable candidate than Biden. I'm telling you, it's going to be the biggest political call of all time. I'm telling you. Exclusive. Trump calls Clinton a much more... This is ABC 12. Oh my God. Exclusive. Trump calls Clinton a much more capable candidate than Biden. So he calls him Sleepy Joe. Sleepy Joe is the best. The best. Little Marco is good too, but Sleepy Joe is. Lying Ted was good too. But here, this is what he said. As a Republican, to be tied is good. I won it last time with Hillary, who was a much more capable candidate than Biden. And this is really hilarious. They put a hyperlink on much more candidate, like, and then you click. It's like, we can't find the page you're looking for. But this is hilarious. But he calls Clinton a much more capable candidate than Biden. And this year, I think we're going to do very well, Trump said during the interview. I think I was 7 points down on Hillary last time in Florida, right at the beginning and right at the end, towards the end, and ended up winning it fairly easily. A much more capable candidate than Biden. So is Gumby. So anyone who can read a teleprompter without saying end of topic. End of topic. Trump calls Clinton a much more capable candidate. Clinton is a much more capable candidate. Let's see if you type in Hillary Clinton, do you get all this? There you go. Exclusive. Trump calls Clinton a much more capable candidate. I'm telling you, it's happening in slow motion. And they're doing this so I don't get they're doing it specifically just to make sure that that I don't just enjoy even more days of, oh my God, it happened. Yes, I was right. The prediction, the prophecy. They're like, what can we do to make sure that H.A. Badman doesn't have, the last possible second, and then finally he could take his victory lap. They're just holding out. They're holding out. They're not. You can't. They can't be serious with Biden. It's not even possible. It's not even possible. Hands Esquire! I admitted I set up Pelosi. It was a setup. That's the thing. It's like, that's the thing. It's like, they never own up to anything. They never own up to anything. They never own up to anything. Well, why were you in the salon? You can't even you can't even go into a salon. You can't get your hair done. It's not possible. And if you're inside, you have to wear the mask. And it's like, so how you didn't do either? Oh, well, it was a setup, and I had my lawyers involved, and everything was above board. And they don't ever live the way that they pontificate. It's just unbelievable. It's never ending. That's why, when people say, "Oh, how can they? The ballots are going to be printed?" And so what? They'll be like, oh, and you'll see CNN, the Washington Post. We need to reprint new ballots. Yeah. Believe me, anything they say, I'll be like, yeah, do it. Let's go. Let's do it. Yeah. I'm not gonna fight it. I'll just enjoy it. I'll just enjoy the Democratic charade and propaganda and spin, because you know what? They're heading towards an iceberg again. They're heading towards another iceberg. It's been 4 years. They spent 4 years with this temper tantrum, this epic, monumental temper tantrum. And instead of getting the ultimate revenge and winning, they just vented for 4 years and they'll lose again. It's the equivalent of losing the big game and getting angry every day but not practicing. If you lose the big game You drop a pass in the end zone, or you strike out bottom of the ninth, whatever. What you should do is then run routes or practice, go to the batting cage, and you have to get better. You don't spend 4 years sulking and, getting into arguments with everybody you know. No, the umpire was wrong. And then you got another game, 4 years. You go to the championship game again, and it's like you do the same things, and it's just Sparky, just like pro wrestling. Nancy's heel. Sparky, thank you. Morpheus, number one fan. Morpheus, thank you, Morpheus. I hope all is well. Morpheus, I hope all is well. Thank you. November 3rd, they're going to, Morpheus, be here November 3rd. They've convinced themselves yet again that the polls are accurate. Well, the polls are tightening. President Trump is now tied with Biden. Biden does worse among black and Latino voters than Clinton. And they have been waiting 4 years and up until this point because they know look, if they switch to Clinton too quickly, then the foundation and the servers and Whitewater and everything else, 30, 40 years of scandal, people talk about. So they're waiting until the last moment. And they're saying, look, you know what? We looked at the polls, and we have a bylaw here and there, and we're going to switch, and it's fine. It's switcheroo. And Morpheus, everybody here, people are going to be like, oh my God, it doesn't matter. They're going to say it doesn't matter. You know what? If you don't like Clinton, talk about it after the election. Just vote. Just vote Clinton. Just vote Clinton. Doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. That's what we're going to say. Nobody is saying vote. Nobody's talking about Biden now on the left. Nobody. Nobody is talking about Biden. Morpheus, thank you so very, very much. Morpheus, thank you. The Biden 100 years. Let me see if I can read it. Biden 100 years. He always he meanders off and he's like, look, you know what? Pandemic has taken this year more than 100 years. Look, the lives, when you think about it. The pandemic has taken this year, just since the outbreak, has taken more than 100 years. Look, the lives, you think about it. More lives this year than any other year for the past 100 years. He constantly stops himself from prolonging this bizarre tangent that he's always getting into. He's always meandering off into some absurd tangent, and then he gets frustrated and stops, and it's you're the problem, not him. You're the problem because you just know. Just know it's the pandemic 100 years. Oh, I don't even. What do I have to? You know the deal. We're endowed by the Creator. You know the deal. And then, is it me? Maybe I'm the one who's the problem. Maybe I'm the one. Then maybe I'm the problem here. He always does this. He always does this. Oh, it's an impediment. No, it's not. It's nothing to do with an impediment. There's a difference between misspeaking. There's a difference between not pronouncing a word or misspeaking. People misspeak all the time. It's not a big deal. At the end of the day, the only purpose in writing and speaking is communication. That's it. It really doesn't matter how much. It doesn't matter how you convey your thoughts as long as you get there and you communicate. But he doesn't even communicate. He barely communicates, Biden. And everything's a hushed tone. And then the other day he hissed, and I don't believe it. It's not happening. To King Louis. This is a history of the world. King Louis. It was so scary. Let's see if I can see Biden hiss. It's so frightening. And nobody cares. This is so sad. It's really Trump derangement syndrome's on overdrive. He was at that church. I don't believe it. Where is that? He was in the church in Wisconsin, Biden church. So weird. Where was it? It was so weird. Oh, here we go. I forgot which one. It was really bizarre. I don't believe it. And it's like this is because they despise Trump so much. This is just fine. and then they're so enamored with the same appeals to authority. They're so enamored. Jeff George, Trump, Biden, tax steel cage match debate. I take Trump on that one, but it's going to be Madam Secretary and Trump in the steel cage. That would be interesting. Jeff George, thank you. Okay, so hold on one second. There is... Okay, why am I having a tough time finding when he hissed? Okay, so hold on one second. There is the Biden... It was the... It was the one where he was trying to say, spoke to Ben Biden and said, we'll go down. He was trying to say that Trump's painting himself as the law and order candidate. And it was really funny, too, because everyone knows that Trump is the law and order candidate, or at least that Trump does not in any way condone the violence. And Biden does, but he's like, oh, yeah, I really don't. Democrats... Oh, Lord. Democrats, they play this hilarious game where they're like, oh, violence bad. Sparky EpiPen on day of debate. That's true. Sparky. Nancy just wants to be in your face to add drama. Jeff George, thank you. Sparky Morpheus, thank you. gosh. That's the best line. Where is it? Don't believe it. There's just so many, like, Biden, Trump, Law and Order. There's so many. The greatest hits of Biden is just it's like a long list of hilarious, bizarre moments. And then they play this game. He keeps telling us if he was president, you'd feel safe. Well, he is president. It's like, yeah, these are all Democratic-run cities where the mayors are like, don't come to our city. Oh, he doesn't care about law and order. It's like all the Democratic cities are being decimated. And the mayors are like, and then you have Amy Klobuchar, don't step on our lawn or get off our lawn. It's like, so which one is it? He's not the law and order president? Then you have people on the left saying, oh my God, Biden, look what he's trying to do. He's trying to say that he's the law and order president now. They don't know. Democrats, they're continually in pandering mode. They have no message at all. This is watch Biden destroy Trump's law and order strategy. This is the hilarious thing. It's like this is pretty clear cut. Pretty clear cut. The violence is being almost certainly done by people who are sympathetic to left-leaning ideology. That is the most diplomatic way, or the most rational way, or generous way of explaining what's taking place. In Democratic-run cities, where you have even one book in defense of vandalism, they are being upfront. They are not even trying to hide it. You do not have, and you had Kamala Harris talk about, well, you know, these things are not going to stop. It's like they're not even trying to pretend that they oppose it. The only reason they're talking about law and order is that they know that they're losing. Biden, he may believe mouthing the words law and order makes him strong, but his failure to call on his own supporters to stop acting as an armed militia, what? Where is this happening? Where? One young person who was being chased after? You have one teenager being chased after. Where is this thing? Does anyone believe there will be less violence? How many armed militias caused $1.4 billion in property damage throughout the country? The armed militias are not doing this. And whoever is doing it, it's safe to say that they lean left in terms of ideology. That's not even a controversial statement. Like, Democrats are like, well, it's just happening, and we don't know we have no clue who's doing it, but it's happening. It's like, no, the media has been calling it fiery but peaceful. The media has already showed its hand. They've already kind of shown exactly, well, they're calling it peaceful because if they acknowledge the violence, it would look bad for the left. The second they can pin any violence on any Trump supporter, they obsess over it. But when you have Brunel Trammell and David Dorn, and you have other people who were murdered, who were Trump supporters, a man in Oregon, you don't hear anything from media. You don't hear anything from media. I mean, there have been more Trump supporters whose lives have been taken from all of this than Trump supporters who've taken lives. That's a fact. So, and you want to talk about that teenager? Well, he was being chased. This shows in the video. Loud citizens. Dear Amy, Trump is the lawn. The lawn, whatever. Exactly. Loud citizen. They come up with these things like get out. They're literally telling Trump. They're literally telling Trump not to missed a super chat. Elias A. The reason for all the boat parades is because of all the peaceful protests against. Elias A. Thank you. I didn't see Elias A. on my screen here. Thank you, Elias. Thank you. Thank you, Eric H526, Luke St. Martin. Thank you. Loud citizen. Thank you. So it's like you have mayors saying, "Stop! Don't stop this divisiveness, Trump. We don't need you. We're handling everything on our own. Your city is being decimated." How are they going to get high voter turnout in urban areas when urban areas are asking for hundreds of millions of dollars in federal funding? Minneapolis asked for $500 million. Minnesota's going red this year. The left is the most inept, incompetent, disingenuous, sad, and pathetic ideology that's ever existed. The American left, you have the Lincoln Project on the American left. It's so pathetic and sad. And then you have leftists like, whoa, we don't even like them. It's like you're being used by them. You're being used by them. All the profiles on the left on Twitter, like Devin Nunes' proctologist's neighbor, all these goofy names, they're being used by the Lincoln Project. You think Democrats care about what a socialist or a communist or an anarchist thinks about anything? They use them. It's not the other way around. The far left thinks that the left is really hilarious. It's a bunch of different factions that really think they run the show. And like, we're the coolest people. We're the ones who really know what's up. It's like, no, Pelosi runs the show for the Clintons. Or Schumer and Pelosi. Okay. And that's the money controls the Democratic Party. The money controls the Democratic Party. That's it. Not the ideology. The Democrats utilize the extreme fringe far left. It's like that's why when you have all of these things taking place in Oregon and Washington, it's like their moment of glory. Where they're like, yes, our utopia, we'll implement our utopia. And they don't realize that once media decides they've had enough, that it's not political, there's no political utility for Democrats, then the floodgates open with, oh my God, these people are the, next, the word starts with a T, and there's a error-ist. I don't want to use the word here, but like these people are domestic. Like once media has had enough of utilizing the fringe left, far left, extreme left, it won't be good for them. And it won't be Trump that's the issue. It'll be media and the Democratic Party. So I'm telling you, I was the biggest Bernie Sanders booster on the internet, according to the Huffington Post. I was one of the few people on the left that actually fought for Bernie Sanders. Actually fought. Bernie Sanders didn't even fight for himself. He didn't even fight for himself. He was like, oh, you cheated me. Oh, it's too bad. That's Trump's fault. Russia, if you're listening, Russia, I want to let you know. If you want to help me, Russia, I don't want your help. I don't want your help. The way the left runs is like, oh, it's so immoral. Everything, they have a morality fetish. They don't care about right and wrong. They don't care about right and wrong. If they cared about right and wrong, they would actually ask, well, are the policies we're trying to implement, are they feasible? But even if you even bring up, like, are they pragmatic or feasible? Is it economically, like, are they viable from a political sense or an economic sense? If you ask those questions, you're a heretic and you've engaged in blasphemy, and you might as well be Newt Gingrich and Genghis Khan all wrapped up into one, and you've no need for you anymore. That's why being called a Trump supporter is the worst insult. Do you understand? Do you understand being called a Trump supporter on the left is the worst insult? Which is really hilarious because I think President Trump is great, and I'm very proud to be a Trump supporter. As the enthusiasm for President Trump throughout the country is off the charts, like one celebrity said, and it's true. Then the ideology is so warped. How can you look at the world from the vantage point of people who oppress and people who are oppressed without removing everyone's individuality? Like, there are unique things within all people that make them special and wonderful and unique, and the way they see things, it's all within a paradigm. It's all within this paradigm where we're going to believe the most irrational things to erase the wrongs of the past. But you can't, with atrocities that have taken place, the most barbaric atrocities that have taken place, you can't erase with an ideology. You can't erase and start over. You just have to move forward as a society. Anyway, we can go on forever. The left is like completely messed up. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you so very, very much. Everyone according to the left, everyone's a racist. And the word has actually lost its meaning. So they say Trump's a racist a million times. It's lost its meaning. And think about it. If the ideologies that run academia and social media and the far left, if these ideologies if these ideologies were resonated and they were actually rooted in reality and truth, then why did President Trump win in 2016, and why is he going to win in 2020? If anything, the ideologies help President Trump win. The further left they get, the better off it is for President Trump and for a person who can evoke the same themes of, we're anti-interventionist. They don't care about that. That's a big foreign policy they have completely ignored, and President Trump has addressed, like reversing U.S. foreign policy. If you get somebody like that in 2024, Democrats will lose again. Anyway, give me your thoughts below. People, if you want to be part of a newsletter, my William Abrams, first flash release TD. Exactly. If you want to be part of a newsletter, people, it's just email me at contactgoodman78@gmail.com. Ladies and gentlemen, we've had, 600 people? Late evening, pretty good. We're going to get to 1,000, 2,000 people when it gets closer to, not nightly, when it gets closer to election time. And ladies and gentlemen, I'm telling you, Madam Secretary is going to save the Democratic Party. Hillary Clinton's going to save the Democrats from Biden. I'm telling you. And I've been telling you since 2017 in my Huffington Post article, Hillary Clinton 2020 is a reality. Get ready for 8 years of President Trump. People, subscribe to H.A. Goodman's other channel. It's below in the pinned comment. Thank you for such a wonderful, wonderful live stream. Eric H526, Luke St. Martin, thank you so very, very much. People, I'll see you tomorrow. Be here 9 p.m. Pacific tomorrow evening, everyone. It's been a pleasure. Thank you so very much.